Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Paul from Prior Witness. Hope you're having a good day. We're going to do three things on this video. Before you have the TC Electronic Plethora X5. So the very first thing I want to go over is a quick overview over this pedal, real quick. Second thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to set up your own board on this thing. And then third, after we're done setting up the board, I'm going to show you how to set up these individual buttons. All right, so quick overview. Why is this thing worth a darn? Well, for one thing, you want this if you want simplicity. That's why you buy this. You're sick and tired of going to like a Boss GT Core, trying to figure out all the menus. You think a head rush is even a little bit too complicated. Maybe the Line 6 is just not working out for you. I don't know, whatever your reason is, you want to simple things down, but you don't want to spend all the money on all these different pedals that you think you need, and all the cables and all the power stuff that you need to go with it. This is a darn good solution. So think of this as, you'll see these buttons here in front of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Think of these as like individual pedals just smashed together. That's really all this is. There's a little bit more complexity behind this thing if you really want it to be, but at the end of the day, if you're just looking for out of the box, simplistic, just go and just play some frickin' music, this is a darn good solution. So the other really nice thing about the X5 is it has an effects loop, so you can go 4-cable method with this, and that's why I bought the X5. I've got all of these pedals, as you see in front of you, going in front of the amp, and then all of these pedals going into the effects loop of the amp. That's how this is set up. You'll notice this little indicator here. I can have my effects loop be in the background and be always on, or I can have it so that it's its own foot switch. You can do either one, which allows you some great flexibility. There's also a cab sim in this thing. I don't personally use it, but I could see a reason why you would use it if you don't have an amplifier, or you're doing a gig without an amplifier and you're just going straight in front of house, or if you're just utilizing this in your studio and you just want to record with it. Those could be solutions for you. Another great thing about the Plethora X5, you can hit 2 buttons at once and it doesn't change patches. I can't tell you, I wish more people advertised this to me. I had to do some digging to find that out. But you don't have to, you can select 2 different pedals at once and not change patches. I think that's so phenomenal. You can just change boards by just flicking this switch, and that's the only way you can select a board with the setup that I have. Now, the Plethora X5 does allow you some flexibility. So if you go down to edit, so if you are the kind of person that wants that flexibility, to be able to select different boards on the fly with your feet, you can do that. If you go down to settings and then global and then go to product settings, you'll find it right here under foot switch board. And you can select whether or not you want it to go, 1 and 2 for up and 2 and 3 for down, or just triple tap the foot switch, to move up and down. You can do those things. That is an option available to you. Another thing that is really, really neat, you can do a quick swap feature. So if you hold down 2 buttons at once for too long, it will flip those pedals around for you. I have that feature on because normally when I select 2 pedals at once, it's really quick, so it's not a big deal for me. There also is a tuner on this thing as well. You have the option of either selecting it by hitting this switch 5 times really, really fast, or you just hold this button down for about 3 seconds and it comes on. And it's the built-in TC Electronic. It's the famous tuner that they have. It's the same thing. It works great. It runs great. It's awesome. And those are just a few of the things that are in here. I could keep going, but I'm seeing my time. I'm already at 4 minutes now, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you how to make your own board. And then if you guys got any other questions, I will be glad to make more videos on this. I probably will anyways because I love it so much. All right, so let's say we've got a board. You bought this thing on the used market and there's some stuff in here you're not too fond of, you want to get rid of it, but you want it in like a certain slot. So here I've already created a few boards here. I've got, my first one, which I call my stock one. This is like my common thing that I use. I've got a phaser, compressor, noise gate, tremolo, chorus. It's like the most common effects I use. But then I also have some other boards here too that I might alternate with. Now here I found this one. This came with it. This is called Wet Wet. I've already modded it a little bit, but we're just going to clear it out because why not? We're going to do this right in front of you. I'm going to show you how easy this is. So we're going to take board 8. We're going to go board, And you can see all the different kinds of setups you can have in here. You can have a second foot switch function. You can select where you want your effects loops. So I think this is important to look at first. Sorry, I just banged it with my hat. That's why it's bouncing around all over the place. So let's back out real quick. So when you're in Edit, you can do two different things with the board here. If you flick this switch up over here on the right, you have an option to create a new board or duplicate it. So if you've already got a board that you really like, and you just want to tweak it a little bit, but you want to keep the other one, you can just go duplicate. Boom, you're done. Another thing you can do is if you flick it down, now you have the option to either just flat out delete the board, or you want to clear it out. We're going to clear it. So we're going to hit that little button there, and boom. Now, if we go to play, empty board. There's nothing there. So let's set it up. Now, before we set it up, we got to, just like anything, you got to have a vision, right? You got to have a mission or something, right? So this is what we're going to do. This one's got this one is the Plethora X5. We have an effects loop. We're going to utilize it. We're going to set it up between buttons 2 and 3 because we want a few effects in front of it, and then we're going to have a few effects going after it. And by the way, it comes in through this way. There is an option in the menu where you can change all that. We're not doing that today. All right. So in order to select which pedal you want to do what, you just hit the button that you want to assign a pedal to. We're going pedal 5. We're going to go from right to left. The first thing we want it to hit, we're going to do a univibe. Why not? So when we click univibe, which is the vicious vibe, we got a few settings over here. We got chorus, vicious default, vicious vibrato. And you notice there's this lovely little line here. That's because there's tone prints. When you connect this thing to a computer, you can download the tone print software, and you can download all these different tone prints. And you got to think of these not as TC Electronic pedals, but just variations of them. And in some cases, they act like completely different pedals. So, you know, if you're going to this thing, you're worried, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of everything TC Electronic does. I do like this, I do like that, but I'm not a fan of this, I'm not a fan of that. Well, you can make your own pedal in here sound just like the one that you got in your head. It's possible you can do that, or you can just go the lazy way like I did and just find someone else's take on the pedal and just go with it. I actually like the Univibe in here, so we're just going to go with that one. The other one that I found, too, on the internet that I kind of like is TC for my bunhole. I know it's kind of got a weird name to it. It's pretty good. Anyway, all right, so we got this one set up. And by the way, there's no save or anything. It's just there. Boom, done. All right, clicking on button number 4 here. We're going to go Edit. Click on button number 4. Sorry, I was doing that out of order. Let's pick something else here that normally goes in front of the amp. Let's do, I like having my, we can do the Octaver. Why not? And you got, again, there's 3 different things in here, 3 different tone prints. You can go classic, poly default, and there's 7-up default. Kind of gives you a nice organ sound. Depends on what you want to do. I just, just showing you how it all works. There's a lot of different, ones in here. We'll scroll through them on the next one. You don't have to keep going through play and edit, by the way. I'm just doing that just to kind of keep my mind knowing where I've got everything going. So you can still select different ones. So like I'm on 3 right now, which is right before we go through the effects loop and then after it. So we want a compressor on this one. So we're going to scroll through here. We're going to click compressor. And I can select through all the different compressors. There are 3 ones here by default. But we can scroll down here and see all the other different ones that other people have made. Somebody even made a Dynacomp. I've tried that one out. Sounds pretty good. Pete Thorne, if you're familiar with him, a YouTuber out there, he's also done. He's done work with Soundgarden, and he's worked with a lot of different bands. But he's made his own tone prints too, and he's got some subtle things going on here with compressors. There's a lot of good stuff in here. But I'm just going to go Spectra. It's the studio version. It's kind of like an LA2A kind of. But anyway, so we got that going on. Now, instead of backing out and going back and forth, you can just click on this button and boom, now we're in the number 2 slot, which is empty. I want my noise gate here. The nice thing, one of the other reasons why I bought a Plethora X5 is because just from research, I just kind of found that the Sentry noise gate made by TC Electronic, for my taste, is probably the best one for me. So that works out pretty well. I'm just going to leave that in there in that slot. And then slot number 1, we're going to go chorus. I want to show you something with this chorus because I think this is pretty cool. So if you're not huge fan of TC Electronic Chorus. Fortunately, I am. But look, I get it. Boss probably makes the best chorus sounding stuff out there. Well, somebody already did that. You notice there's a tone print there for the CE1. Somebody actually duplicated what the CE1 sounds like. Sounds pretty good. There's also some stuff in here from John Petrucci, from Dream Theater, if you know that guy. He came up with some chorus stuff too in here as well, which sounds awesome. So just experiment in here. Just, take a peek at it, plug it in, see what it sounds like. I mean, it's really cool stuff. So there you go. Real quick, I did want to show you, if you can follow along. I know we're at 10.5 minutes. Gonna go chorus. That's the one that we're on right now. But just to scroll through the rest of these effects, you get an idea of what's in here. You've got Corona chorus. You got a hypergravity compressor. There's the famous flashback 2 delay. Awesome delay. There's something called a doubler as well. I'm sorry, I keep banging my camera with my hat. Got a vortex flanger. Sounds pretty good. The quintessence harmony. You got a looper in here. There's a noise gate. The 7-up octaver, sort of like an octave pedal. You got the Helix phaser. I really like how that sounds, by the way. I'm partial to the Phase 90 phaser, but I tried this one out. It's won me over. It's pretty good. Pitch shifter. That's supposed to emulate like your Digitech whammy pedal. Not a fan of that, honestly. I think that's one of the negatives on this thing. So if you're buying this because of its pitch shifting ability, it's okay. It gets the job done. You got a Hall of Fame 2 reverb. Tremolo, that's got a lot of versatility in there, by the way. All the different things you can do with tremolo. Vicious Vibe, which is nothing more than Univibe. You got the vibrato, sounds amazing. The Vintage Echo, it's just another kind of delay. And of course, if you want to be weird, you can have one of these slots just completely empty. That's fine. And then, like I was saying earlier, you can also just have the effects loop as one of the switches too. And then you just keep scrolling down all the way to settings if you want to mess with settings. So that's it. And then when we go to play, it's all there. Now you notice every single one of these buttons is lit up. So if you don't want everything lit up as you go to that board, you can just, you know what, I just want my noise gate on, my compressor on when I go to that board, but I don't need my octaver on, I don't need the Vicious Vibe on, and I don't need my chorus on right away. Remember that, we only got buttons 2 and 3 on. I go to a different board. I'm going to scroll back up. It remembers which buttons are off and which ones are on, which is a really neat feature. I really like that as well. Again, just to show you the tuner. You get the poly tuner. That's what you're seeing in front of you. You just click a button and it comes out. You can change stuff around. If you're thinking, you know what, I want my octaver over here and my Univibe over there, as you saw. I just flip it around like there. All right, last thing. I know we're at 13 minutes. I want to show you how to manipulate these buttons. You'll notice it doesn't. These 3 knobs right here do not by default go to anything. You have to tell the Plethora what you want those knobs assigned to. So let's say I want to adjust the speed on my chorus, on the fly. And this is all on the fly, by the way. This is another reason why I like this thing. You can adjust certain elements on here on the fly whenever you want. So let's say I want to adjust the speed on my chorus, the speed on my Univibe, and I don't know, I want to adjust the sensitivity on my compressor or something like that. So for the chorus, since it's over here on the far left, I'm going to use this button for that. This middle button here is right above the compressor. We'll use that button for that. So that's button 2. And then button 3, since we want to adjust the speed on our Univibe, we'll assign it to that button. So what we do is we go down to Edit. We're going to scroll down all the way to the settings. And I just screwed up one of them because I accidentally hit effects loop. No big deal. I'm going to show you how easy it is to fix a mistake. Go back to Corona chorus. Corona default. Let's go try chorus because reasons. All right, let's try this again. We're going to scroll down to settings. Go board. Hot knobs. Knob 1. That's this button right here. Click on that. Chorus. Let's go speed. And you do everything with this knob right here. And I'm just hitting it down. Every time I click down, it goes to that one. Okay, knob 1's assigned. Let's go knob 2. Remember, knob 2 is this one. It was the middle one. Our compressor was right there, right? And it tells you even right here. See, number 3, compressor. So if you couldn't remember, it tells you right there. It's awesome. I'm gonna click compressor. Let's change. Let's change the sustain. Which is basically what point it's gonna compress this stuff. So let's go there. And then 3. Let's go, I don't know, let's go the speed on the Univibe. Boom, we're done. All right. And we're going to click play. Notice how each one of these has a little, indicator above it now showing you which knob does what on per each pedal, which is really neat. So if I select this, look at that. I'm changing the speed. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. So I'm changing the speed of the chorus on the fly. Let's say we want to change the sustain here on your compressor. You can do that on the fly. So, if you don't feel like your guitar's kicking right, you can change that. And then here's the speed option. I'm just changing the speed on the fly. Pretty neat. And it's another thing I really love about the Plethora X5. You can just kneel down, just boom, there you go. You want to change something on the fly real quick, you can do that. If you've got certain, items on these effects that hey, I'm probably going to need to change that. Tremolo's another one that I like to change on the fly. I like adjusting, the speed and the rate and pitch and all that. I can assign that to a button, and I've done that. I'll show you here on one of my stock ones that I've got here. Pipeline tremolo here. So these last two buttons over here manipulate the depth and the speed on my tremolo, so I can just on the fly just go, you know what? I don't think that speed's quite right. I'm gonna lean down real quick and adjust that. Or you know what? I want it to be fully square. Let's crank the depth down. Or you know what? I just want it to be a little bit subtle, so let's go back a little bit. I can do that on my tremolo pedal. And you can assign the buttons too. You can assign these knobs to affect, more than just one pedal too. If you want one knob to just change a bunch of effects at the same time, you can do that too. There's a lot of flexibility with this thing. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's simple. It's easy to use. But anyways, that's just me. That's a guy coming from a head rush, actually from an HX effects to a head rush, now to a Plethora X5. Yeah, I'm really loving it so far. And it sounds great too. It sounds it sounds great. So I can do some demos, if you want. Probably will anyways, because I really enjoy it. I hope you learned something. I hope this video was helpful for you. I apologize. I know, 18 minutes. Wow, let's wrap it up. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks a lot. Rock on. Take it easy, guys.